How do we get started with it? You know, I've got partner in crime here, Lee Millette.
Hey, what's going on?
And I'm Sherelle Lands, and we're just so excited about this concept called Women with Grit, where we interview just exceptional women within the community and around the world who are doing phenomenal things. So how do we get started with this concept, Lee?
Well, I think ultimately it was a reaction to COVID. We were literally working on a different concept that involved women and really helping women have the opportunities to progress in their careers, and we're really putting something together to do that. And we had all these people lined up to interview and to get information from, and COVID happened. And so
that changed life for everyone.
It did, and so for us, we were talking one day.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about what we're doing, and I said, I'm thinking about doing this podcast, and I'm thinking about doing this, and you said, okay, let's do it. And so Women with Grit came.
There it is. Big on execution, we make it happen.
Yes, so it's been exciting.
Yes, it has. We've had just phenomenal guests even over the last year, and looking forward to all that's coming ahead. So how can they reach us?
They can reach us on YouTube, Exceptional Women with Grit. You can subscribe to our page. Yeah. You can check out our Facebook page, Women with Grit, or you can go to our website, womenwithgrit.com.
That's it.
And the best way to catch us is Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, when Sherelle and I are live with our guests. And literally, I think the most exciting thing for me is what we talked about. We wanted to have a program that addressed that brought in women from around the world. So that's our globe here. We literally interview people in Bogota, Colombia, over in London, and then all over the United States as well. So that's been exciting. That's one of the benefits of COVID. Everybody's used to this virtual world, and nobody feels like they have to fly in to be live in the studio.
That's right. So hopefully you will join us live or catch the replay, right?
The replays, that's right. We have a bunch of replays, and I mean, if I were you, I would binge listen. People binge watch on Netflix, binge listen and watch Women with Grit. There have been some phenomenal interviews and some phenomenal tips that will help anyone. We have men and women that watch.
That's right.
And I think the tips that you get, the things that you learn from these women that are our guests will help anyone advance their careers, advance their lives, and just really live a full life and a happy life. And I think that's exciting.
Yes, I would agree 100%. So if you're interested, definitely join us, follow us, engage with us, like us, share it, all of those things. And if you know a phenomenal woman or a woman with grit that you would recommend being on the show, be sure that you write us on any one of those forums, and a member of our team will get back to you.
Yeah. And don't forget, if you have a product or service, a company that you want to promote or a cause, give us a shout. We're happy to do that. There is a cost. But it's not much, not yet. So you better get in while it's cheap.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you. And so far, we'll see you online.
Talk to you later. Peace.
Bye. Well, good evening, everyone. It's that time again. It's Women with Grit. Hey, Lee.
Good. Hey, Sherelle. How are you?
Great. How about yourself?
Good. Hey, what's up, Justin Davis? Thanks for being the first one to tune in today on Facebook Live. I can't see the YouTube stream, but I want to give you a shout out, Justin. Thanks for joining.
Yes, consistently. Justin's one of our regulars.
Yes. But
awesome.
How's everything going in your world?
Going great. It's been a busy week, or at least since last week, since we had Carrie Peel on. Tonight we've got Michelle Lynn Adderley. So I'm looking forward to bringing her up. How are you? How's things going on in your world?
Everything's going great. Busy. Busy. I found myself, this is too much information, but I did my workout this morning, then I had a phone call, and I didn't get to take my shower till 3. So
yeah, that might be a little bit too much, Lee.
Yeah, when people use that word, kids are starting to smell themselves. I was smelling myself all day. So
it's life. It's life. But you know what? I guess that's the beauty in being behind the screen, if you will, and that's just being able to stay in the comfort of your own home. So that's awesome.
Today was one of my home office days, so worked out.
There it is. No one's there. No one cares.
Nope.
You know,
Nope.
maybe the family.
Yeah.
But I get it. So now you are still very much busy in the college search mode. How's that going? I'm sure that's occupying time as well.
That certainly is, and as I think I may have mentioned, I have we have a uh, young kid. I mean, he's a teenager, so he's not a young kid anymore. He's an old kid, but senior year of high school, and just trying to figure it out. He's a little bit his journey is a little different than mine. He's an athlete, and he's got some colleges recruiting him. And then he has something that he's interested in going to if he gets an offer from them. So but ultimately, our criteria is that it's a sound academic school, and then for him, he wants to be able to play football there. So he's got some great offers. Just picked up another one yesterday, and so we'll see. He had a great game Friday. He had the play of the week, high school play of the week in Middle Tennessee. He and his
that's awesome.
Yeah, he and the quarterback. He and the quarterback connected on a nice 37-yard touchdown pass. And this quarterback is the kid that he played with at UNA over in Antioch back when they were 9 or 10 years old. So
they grew up together.
They grew up together. A couple kids on that team, on his team that he played with. One of them's going to Michigan, so super proud of him. Another one, he's got a number of offers. He hasn't decided where he's going to go yet, and he'll get some more. And this, the quarterback he's committed to Florida State, but he's a junior, so we'll see what he does.
Florida State.
Ah!
Although this year has been a little rough for us, lots of ups and downs. Unfortunately, the consistent wide lefts or wide rights, and you just want to scream as an alum, but die hard.
Every program goes through that cycle. I see my cousin on here. He's a University of Houston grad. What's up, Mark? Good to see you, man. And his son graduated from LSU. So, all those schools kind of
fluctuate.
LSU is, for the last good while, they've been pretty solid, but they haven't taken the championship home in a while. So many good things going. Now, how about you? Have a protein that you like?
Yeah, I've got quite a few. You really don't want me to go down my list.
Just your favorite.
These are my favorites. I've got the Cowboys, the Falcons, the Tennessee Titans, and the Broncos.
Okay.
Those are my.
All right. I got the Raiders. Raiders, my number one team. The Titans are my hometown team. So
okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Raiders almost did it yesterday, right?
Almost did it. Oh gosh, yeah. But I tell you what, San Diego was surprising. They played really well, and they should be proud of themselves. But I thought we were going to be able to pull it out, and at the end of the day, the home team won. So
that's all right.
What do you do? Got to play next week.
I know. Well, enough about the football talk, because we've got an amazing woman backstage that we are dying to bring up before you. Her name is Michelle. I mixed her.
You mixed her name up, huh?
Exactly. Michelle Lynn Adderley. I don't know. Anyway, but she's amazing. Can't wait to bring you up. But before we do, we want to make sure that we thank our sponsors. And so for Lisa at MJC Insurance, she can be reached at 615-873-1988 or Lisa at mjcins.com, where they will shop over 30 companies to get you the right homeowners, auto, as well as workers' comp. We got Lauren at Moulette Investment Services for all of your benefit planning needs, 401k, disability, medical, as well as dental. And she can be reached at 615-627-0968 or Lauren at MouletteInvestmentServices.com or Mr. Terrell Perry. And he can be reached at 615-627-0968 for all of your wealth planning, life insurance, long-term care as well. And then, of course, I'm dropping a couple of books, couple programs. I will get to that at the very end because I'm so excited about it, so I won't belabor it. But Vision Strategy Management, where we believe in building successful teams who succeed. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce to some of you, reignite to others, Miss Michelle Lynn Adderley. She is an entrepreneur, a world traveler, speaker, coach, and consultant with a successful financial consulting firm, Grossboro Financial Group in Miami, Florida. Michelle leverages her extensive professional experience to help connect people across industries, cultures, as well as languages. She has an active travel schedule combined with her strong financial foundation, which enables her to do anything at least once. She has had the privilege of being in the company of some of the most influential leaders in various fields such as business, politics, and entertainment, while also meeting interesting people all around the globe. Michelle Lynn's passion is in helping others make the transition from employee to entrepreneur. Don't I know that one well? She guides her clients in budgeting, investing, real estate ownership, and leveraging their finances for success. And she understands that we all have the potential for greatness, but some lack the encouragement or the direction to embody it. She has been a financial advocate since 2013 with a focus on finance and business strategy for individuals and families at various stages of life. And she is committed to educating children. I got to say that one again because it starts with the seed. Children about money management through community outreach programs where she speaks to students about financial literacy. Listen, there's so much more to say about this amazing woman, but I would love to bring her to the stage. So at this time, we would like to introduce to you Miss Michelle Lynn Adderley.
Hi. Hey, Michelle.
We're gonna go find Madeline.
Well, I think she was trying to say Matterly, but
Madeline, yeah, I combined it, so I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's another alter ego I need to introduce to the other ones. Madeline, I'm gonna write that down.
Madeline, yeah.
So
how
you guys?
are you?
I'm amazing. How are you all?
Doing wonderful.
Yeah,
Awesome,
wonderful here.
Awesome.
Yep. How's the weather? Are you in Florida right now?
I am.
Okay. How's the weather?
Florida.
Florida. Okay.
Because
up and
sometimes
down.
it's like, yeah, it's up and down. It's raining. It's raining on one side of the street and it's not on the other. It's it's Miami weather or Florida weather.
Gotcha. We get that here in Nashville. It'll be raining part of the city, and the other part of the city is not raining. So sometimes you just don't know. We just don't get the consistent
just don't know.
sun.
I know.
Yeah.
Never
We don't
know.
get the consistent hurricane season, nor the consistent, sunny seasons or anything. So it's all sporadic around here.
Well, it's number one place to be, I guess now. I mean it's the number one highest place to live or rent over Los Angeles now. So it used to be Los Angeles and then Miami. Now Miami's number one.
Really? Wow.
Every influencer, I think, on IG or wherever wants to be in Miami. It's all about the yachts, the fast cars, the luxury cars,
right.
All of that.
And let's not forget no state income tax.
No.
Yeah.
We love it. No state income tax. I have to remember that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. Now, are you from there originally, or how long have you been?
I'm from heaven.
From heaven originally? Okay.
I'm just here on assignment.
All right.
Love that.
But I'm originally from Fort Pierce, Florida.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I ended up in Miami to attending college.
Oh, really? Okay. Which school?
Florida Memorial.
Okay, great.
The birthplace of the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
All right, a little education there. And you all have one of the top aeronautical programs, also for So if you
aviation,
aviation
program. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an aeronautical.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aviation.
We graduate
so
some superstars.
Yeah, so if you want to become a pilot, that's a great place to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, Michelle, is that I actually grew up not too far away from Florida Memorial. We called it FLOMO.
Right. I didn't know that.
Not too far.
That's awesome. Not too far. Yep, from FLOMO. Right.
That's right.
I mean, that place raised me.
Oh, wow.
It actually did. Yeah. I loved it there. I was there 3.5 years matriculating. and graduated, pledged, graduated, was the homecoming queen.
Oh,
So I
wow.
did a lot of stuff, active in student union,
Uh-huh.
student government, as we called it, student government, and
Right.
went on to law enforcement.
Okay.
Spent some time in public service, about 10 years in public service, and then I went into the private sector. And so in the private sector, I learned a lot about entrepreneurship in the private sector.
Mm.
So from there, I started my business, and I've been in business over 20 years, grinding hard. It was, I was forced into entrepreneurship, I would say, because the place that I worked gave us these tape reports every week. So with these tape reports were like Brian Tracy, Earl Nightingale, so it was self-development.
Okay.
And I started listening to the tapes, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't be here. I think I'm supposed to work for myself. Like, this is what you're teaching me. This is what you're telling me.
Right.
Every week. You're telling me to be mindful of the things that I'm doing, be mindful of my thoughts. Don't allow anyone else to run over you. Follow your dreams, follow your passion.
Right.
And I'm here, running someone else's business. So I knew at an early age that entrepreneurship was for me. And I just took a longer route to get there. So it took me some time.
Okay.
And then I ended up, in my own little space that I had to carve out. Because like I said, I was forced into entrepreneurship.
Gotcha. Yeah. And, that happens with a lot of folks that become entrepreneurs. I think, which has given people the flexibility to move to Florida or, wherever they want to go, because they've gone out on their own and created a little niche. And, once you can figure out how to make it, maybe a little bit less than what you're making in corporate America. For some people, that's all they really need. They're like, hey, you know what? For having less stress or having more freedom and flexibility, I'll take, a 5 or 10% pay cut. And they never feel like they're working for it or working as hard either, because it's their gig.
Right. And you know what, now, I think it's the total opposite. So I think that entrepreneurs, the Gen X, I think that's, the millennials, I'm sorry, are really out earning their parents at the age. I mean, like, these kids, I tutor some, advise some others, and they're, 30 years old, and they're making they're normalizing now making $1 million a month. And so this is the new thing, is making $1 million a month. So they're not moving to take a pay cut. They're moving to take a pay increase, because I think with all of the sites and just the energy, I'm really big on energy, just the energy, and they're moving towards the energy and the mindset, because they want to be around the people who have the same types of mindset, and they're hustling, and they're doing, 20 hours a day promoting their products.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's really, really exciting to see so many millionaires in that age group. And it's also inspiring as well, because they'll come up with a plan or a play. They say, hey, we're running this play. And I say, okay, so what are we doing? And the next thing you know, they're launching these products, and, you look at their Shopify stores, or you look at, their Sam carts, and you're like, okay, you did 500,000 today. What is it going to be tomorrow? And they're just doing it.
Yeah.
So
it's a different mindset. I think if you set your kids up right, and I'm definitely not going to give the parents all the credit, but in a lot of cases, if you depending on how you set your kids up or what they see you do, part of their drive is if they think that you're working too hard to just make it, they're driven to, they have the work ethic, which is important, but their desire is to make more.
Right.
But I'm gonna do something a little bit smarter than mom and dad. I'm not looking for a consistent paycheck. But that's what got them to the point where they didn't have to worry about the consistent paycheck. So but yeah,
and that's
you're right. It's exciting.
Yeah, and that's what we have to do with our kids, is we have to allow our kids to dream. And we have to allow our kids to do what it is that they want to do and not what we want them to do. So I have nieces and nephews that are all dynamic individuals, and we allow them to be individuals, and we allow them to dream. And the oldest one is 36 years old. Well, not the oldest one, but one of the ones is 36 years old. And it's like, okay, auntie, I have a dream, I have a plan, I want to do more. And we're like, okay, we're here to support you, and and fostering your dreams, and allowing her to be an individual and not just putting her in that box. She didn't do all the things that I wanted her to do in the way that I wanted her to do it, but I just have to allow her to do what it is that she wants to do, because they're just super talented. So we have to allow kids to be who they are.
Right.
I love that. Now I want to come back and expound upon that. But Michelle, you said something which was really interesting when you talked about becoming essentially a forced entrepreneur, of which you have remained an entrepreneur. So how did it go from forced to something that you have just embraced as a part of your story and something that you've leaned into?
Well, because I had to do it. I had at the time that I became an entrepreneur, my daughter was 8 years old, and I was offered a position at the facility. Well, I wasn't at the facility. Let's bring this back. I was at a banquet facility, not a correctional facility where I used to work, but I was at a banquet facility and hospitality, and as a hotel manager and a banquet manager. So they offered me a position, a higher position, right, to put both of those things together and run their operation. And when I talk about them, I'm talking about a family-owned business. And they asked me to run their hotel. And I said, okay, no problem. So I got everything together. I said, okay, I have my daughter. She's 8 years old. I'm a single mom. I'm going to have to make some arrangements to have her go back to Fort Pierce with my mother. And so I can take this position, because as a hotel manager, banquet manager, you're on call. So, if something happens in the middle of the night, you have to get over to the hotel, or something happens, you have to be basically on call. And so I made those arrangements. And then when I made those arrangements, they said, oh, well, we decided that we're not going to offer you the job. We're going to take that back. We're going to rescind our offer, and we're going to offer it to someone else.
Oh, wow.
And so, which was a male. And the father who owned the business said that. He said, well, I think, and this was a lawsuit that I did not pursue, but he said, I think as a woman that you should be home, and you're a single woman. So I think that you should focus a little bit more on finding a husband to help support you, so you can be at home a little bit more and not take the responsibility. So I said, so is this like a sexist type of comment? Like, am I hearing you correctly? And he was in my office, and he said, yeah. He said, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the offer. Just, we're going to find somebody else. And I said, no, you're not, because I've made arrangements for my daughter, and I've made arrangements totally to take this position. So you're just not going to rescind the position. So I had an opportunity to sit down with his sons probably like a week and a half later, after I got over the shock.
Right.
And I said, you had me to make arrangements to take this position, and now you're rescinding the offer. I need a raise. And so the son said, Michelle, he said, you're so valuable to us. And he said, you're valuable to me. And he said, but we cannot afford to pay you your value. We cannot afford to pay you what you're asking us for. Although you, in 8 months, you've sold $2.2 million of banquet sales, we cannot afford to pay you what you're worth. And I said, you know what? In one of those tapes that I listened to, and this was back in the day, so we were listening to cassette tapes. So I said, in one of those tapes, they said that no one will ever pay you what you're worth. right?
Mhm.
Because no one else can put the value on you
That sounds
through a
like a girl.
paycheck, right?
Yeah.
So I said,
Right.
effective immediately. I went down to my office. I typed up my letter of resignation, and I said, effective immediately, I resign.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
from there, I went into entrepreneurship. I started my business, and they were actually my first customers.
Oh, wow.
So
How
that was
interesting is
awesome.
that?
Right, because they believed in me. They understood,
Yeah.
my passion. They understood my purpose. And my purpose was not to be an employee.
Mm-hmm.
And I always stress that to them, because as a manager, I would tell them where they were lacking, where they could, add more value to the community and to the customers in which they were serving. And I treated it as my own business.
Okay.
So, and they saw that, in the bottom line, the sales that I brought in, the customers that I brought in. So they saw
Mhm.
that. And
Right.
so they knew that I would be an awesome vendor for them.
Okay.
And my perfectionist, me being a perfectionist, would show in the work that they ordered. So they were amazing customers.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, were you able to offer them the same services that you were getting paid for, or you came up with a totally
No,
different service and product?
no. I ended up in the printing and marketing business.
Okay.
And that was because I was in a relationship with someone who that was their specialty. And
Okay.
I learned that from being in the relationship. I learned the jargon. I learned how to print. I learned how to screen print.
Okay.
And from that, I started, we started the business together.
Okay.
And that relationship didn't last because, he ripped me off for everything that I had.
Oh,
I
wow.
ended up making, I ended up being almost, I would say, semi-homeless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Semi-homeless, because I'd never lived with my mom since I graduated from high school. I had never
Okay.
been with my mom.
Uh-huh.
And I was back home at my mom's with $167.35 child support check. That's all that
Wow.
I had. With a
Wow.
car that was paid off, all of the equipment, everything that I invested in, from all the money that I saved from being in the public sector, was taken away from me. And I had no idea. And I woke up one day to a phone call from the leasing agent. And she said, because I was sick and I was home, my mom was taking care of me. And I woke up to a call from the leasing agent, and she said that your check bounced. And I said, there's no possible way that my check bounced.
Right.
And she said, yes, you may want to check on everything. And she said, well, are you guys still moving? And I was like, moving? Because he had moved everything out and moved it to
Oh.
Orlando. And I was
Oh, wow.
in Fort Pierce, and I had no idea.
Wow.
And so after that, and everything was taken away from me, I just had to call several people. I had to humble myself, call and let everyone know that I didn't have anything. All I had was the $167 child support check. And I needed them to believe in me, and I needed them to support me in my efforts to be an entrepreneur. And they did.
Oh, wow.
And so it's been 21 years later.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
21 years later.
Congratulations.
That's an amazing
So
story.
that's grit.
That
Yeah.
is
That's
grit.
Very much so.
That's a true
Yes.
story of grit there. Yeah.
Very
It's,
much
it's
so.
amazing what the power of communication is. So, because you had a rock solid track record with people, when you called and were just open with them, they accommodated you. And I imagine some of them may still even do business with you, even in a different
Absolutely.
way than what you were offering then.
Yes.
And I love the part that you talked about just being comfortable with the ask or asking humbly for help, right?
Mhm.
A lot of the times we just suffer in silence instead of saying, hey, have faith in me. You've seen the work ethic. You've seen what I've done, et cetera. This is just an opportunity to take that next step, which is women. A lot of the times we don't make the ask. We talked about that last week with Carrie Peel. We talked about just, making the ask and why as women, we don't make the ask.
Right.
So
Right.
thank you for
Because
sharing.
everyone look at us as having the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes because we have ego,
Mhm.
it sneaks
No,
in.
that's
Majority
not
of
just
it.
reserved for egotistical guys.
it sneaks in sometimes, and it's like, especially when you're in a position of authority.
Mhm.
And I speak to some of my professionals that come to me that are afraid to ask for help and financial help because they are professionals in their industry, but they're not professionals in my industry.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I let them know that it's okay to not have it all together.
Together. Yeah,
And
that's right.
sometimes we want to have it all together so much that, like you said, to your point, we suffer in silence. We
Mhm.
won't go in and ask anyone for help. We say, hey, I give life, and I give
Right.
life to everyone that's around me. And how am I dying inside when I'm the person
Mhm.
that produces life?
Wow.
So,
That could preach. That
yeah.
can really preach.
Yep, that'll preach.
Yes, it is. And like it's a topic that is just so prevalent. And then, obviously, Lee, I'm in the space of helping businesses grow, but a lot of the times we'll start with strategy and then it ends up becoming almost therapeutic or therapy where there's the tears because until we get to a place of just saying, this is where it is, this is how it is, then we can move forward. Otherwise, we kind of spin our wheels. Anyway, so now on the topic of the passion that you have with the financial aspect of budgeting and really helping people in the area of finances, where did that come from for you and what drives that passion?
Well, it came from having a fear of money.
Mm.
And then going broke.
Mm.
So I had this fear of money
Money.
because I watched my mom, back to us talking about kids are going to do what they see you do, or they're going to go the opposite way and say, hey, I don't ever want to suffer like
Right.
my mom. And so going through life and having money and always saving money because I was a person that always lived below my means. I, started making more money than I had ever made before. And it made me afraid. It frightened me like crazy. I said, am I ever gonna continue to have it? Am I gonna lose it? Do I have the
Yeah.
mindset to keep it? I didn't, to a point where I didn't want to touch it.
Mm.
Mm.
I was
Yeah.
that fearful of money because I said, if I can do it on the card, I don't have to touch it. I don't have to see it. I don't have to know that I don't have it. I used to just let money pile up, stack up.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so then I woke up one day through some bad investments, friendships and different things like that, lending people money and all of that. And it was a group of us that had made a bad choice. And we were all in a situation where we needed help financially. And the person who had the most fear of money, which was me, was the person who had to save us all. So
Mm.
I said I would stay up 20 hours a day and just study the law and study about the FCRA laws and study about everything. How do we get our credit back on track? How do we how do we make money? How do we leverage the money? And I wanted to know everything. So I became a financial sponge.
Mm.
Right? Because I
Okay.
had so many people that were looking at me and said, hey, we don't have the capacity right now. They were depressed. They didn't have the capacity to go and sit down and study like I did. They had families. And I was the
Mhm.
only person in the group that was single and that lived alone, that could take a shower like he said, like Lee said, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? Because I
Right.
was there studying. I had to save everyone. So that's how I got to the place in which I am now. I just I just had to save everyone.
So
That's
talk
all I
about
had
your
to do.
business now. Talk
Mhm.
about your business. We know broadly kind of what you do, but let's talk about it in more detail.
So I do financial literacy and coaching. So
Okay.
I have clients, high net worth individuals down to kids
Mm-hmm.
that I coach, and I coach them wherever they are. When they come to me, we utilize some different methods to help them out of their financial, to help them with their financial breakthroughs. So some people are stuck, like I was stuck, and had
Okay.
some fears of money. So I'm able to help them get out of that. Some people are learning how to handle and manage money, and I help them with that.
Okay.
So that's basically what I do. And I'm a licensed debt collector as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's phenomenal. Congratulations. That's a
Thank you.
much needed service that you're providing, and you can't get to everybody, so
I
that
can.
Right.
needs your service, and those
Mhm.
that desire. But
Right.
if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
I am Adderley, IAMADDERLEY on all social media platforms.
Okay. So you're on
Mhm.
Facebook, you're on
I'm on
Instagram, you're on Twitter, LinkedIn. Is there
everywhere, even
Say it
everywhere?
one more
TikTok.
time, Michelle. What is it?
I am Adderley, IAMADDERLEY on all social networks. And that's my website as well.
Okay, awesome.
Fantastic.
Hmm.
Well, it's hard to believe, but we're halfway through. This
It
show,
goes by fast.
yes,
Yes.
it definitely goes by fast. So we're going to give you a quick break. We're going to say hi to our sponsors and grab you some water, and then we'll be right back with you. And
Awesome.
you got
Thank you
a
very
shout out
much.
from one of our
Yeah.
very faithful listeners, Sharonda Scott, who just said your story is so powerful, Michelle.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. And thank you to all you all that are joining us right now on Facebook Live and on YouTube, as well as on our website at www.womenwithgrit.com. We hope that this show is very inspiring. For me, it is. Sherelle,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts so far?
Always. I mean, like for me, I gather so much from just these amazing women, the richness of their stories. And the one thing that they all have in common is grit.
It's
I
great. There you
mean,
have it.
in so many aspects without,
Yeah.
blatantly saying it or stating it.
Hmm.
It's the aspect of grit. It's the ability to overcome. Every person's story is very different,
Yes.
but the one thing that is common is grit. So
Right.
it's always exciting for me to see and hear and learn from women such as Michelle and, the story of the forced entrepreneur. Like, it's
That's a
inspiring.
book. Is that a book? The Force Entrepreneur?
I don't know, but it should be. Hopefully, Michelle, I don't know. You should pin that one, the forced entrepreneur. But
Yeah.
that one was, like it's an amazing one, but it's a great one that people need to hear more of that, the aspect
Mhm.
of, hey, I was forced into it, but even still, I found purpose in it. That's what I got from it. I saw the richness of being able to help people. At least that's what I heard from Michelle. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Well,
long and
wonderful.
short of it is yes.
We're already recapping, Michelle. I mean, it's been
I
great so
know.
far. But
I
hey, we
know.
want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank MJC Insurance. I was on the phone with Brianna today, getting some quotes for some business coverage for a project that I have going on. And they offer, if you're in the construction or real estate development business, they offer builder's risk insurance. They have workers' comp insurance, in addition to our typical automobile service insurance and your homeowner's insurance. So give MJC Insurance a shout out when you go on the website. Just go to the website, mjcins.com, mjcins.com. And Brianna can be reached at BRIANNA at mjcins.com. She's doing some phenomenal things over there with Lisa and Leon. And so want to give her a shout out. If you're getting ready to buy a new house, or, one of the things that she told me when I talked to her the other day, she's partnering with mortgage companies and mortgage brokers. So if you have a company and have an opportunity to partner with someone in the mortgage industry or insurance or financial services, anything that you can to help others build their businesses while they help you build yours, I think that's a great idea. Also want to shout out Terrell Perry, Terrell, Terrell, at moletteinvestmentservices.com, MOLETTE, investmentservices.com. So Terrell at moletteinvestmentservices.com. Do not die without a life insurance policy. You're doing a disservice to your family and to your friends and all those that rely on you. Make sure that
Right.
you give him a call and have him give you an insurance checkup. Whether it's a cheap term policy that's 20 years, you don't want your insurance to term out before your kids are growing up. So make sure you really look into that. And Terrell will also help you put together a strong investment plan to help you build wealth over time. It takes time to build wealth. It doesn't happen overnight. So we want to shout him out. Also want to shout out my co-founder and partner, Michelle Lynn. Hey, she's got the books.
Got the fun stuff.
She got the stuff that will help you move your life ahead, help move your business ahead, and to help you implement the strategies that you come up with. And, some of us have things up in our head. We dream it, we think about it, and we put it on paper, and then we never do anything with it. Well, and some of us are waiting for the perfect plan. Perfection is the enemy of success. So
That's right.
do not wait for perfection. It will kill your deal. Just make sure you have this grit, the grit that Michelle has and so many of our guests have had. So
That's right.
with that, that's all you need. You got to have grit, you got to have work ethic, and you have to have a vision. If you do that, you can make it. Sherelle, what do we have? Are we ready to bring Michelle back?
We're ready to bring Michelle back up. The one thing I wanted to say is that we're now in 2 physical locations. Although we service across the U.S., we now have physical footprint in Nashville, Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee, as well as Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're on the ground in either one of those, feel free to come see us, and we'll have some fun in terms of bringing your strategies to life.
All right. Wonderful.
So let's bring Michelle back up.
Yep.
And I have a question actually for both of you guys. Since real estate is something that you share in common, right, in terms of the expertise in real estate, when you look at the market and the landscape current day, what advice would you give someone in the area of real estate? So I'd love to hear from both of you. Michelle, I'll have you go first.
Right now, real estate I'm telling my clients to make sure that they're stacking their money and wait for the crash. Okay. Because so many have postponed mortgages and the mortgage companies were not very clear with the moratorium on the mortgages. So they didn't know that the mortgage was going to be due at the end of that postponement, right? Some mortgage companies are forcing their clients to pay all of that. So it's been a year. They're forcing them to pay it. Some of them are putting it on the back end.
Right.
But I've been telling all my investors to make sure that they have the money aside, because they're going to be able to either help some of these clients stay in their houses, stay in their homes, bail them out, and they can make money from there, or they'll be in a position to purchase the homes and rent it back to the homeowners. So whichever way is going to be a great position for investors. So what do you think, Lee?
Well, real estate is location. It's all about where you are. And so you have to, first of all, understand that. Then you also have to understand what's driving the economy. So, one of the things that you mentioned, and so I'm coming from a different approach from where you came from, Michelle, because I agree with you. A lot of people didn't understand, I expected most of the mortgage companies, if not all, to put those not really forgiven, the moratorium, those notes on the back end, not to expect somebody that wasn't working all year to be able to write a check for $12,000 or whatever the note was per month for a year. That seems, pretty much ludicrous and unfair. And hopefully, the government or somebody will step in to help people out in those circumstances. But if they don't, to your point, there's going to be an opportunity for investors to to help, but also earn. And I'm one of those people. I'm not a predatory type investor, so
Mhm.
I don't even buy houses through tax sales because it's I think it's just it's you're kind of capitalizing on somebody else's woes, if you will. But so again, uh, real estate is location, location, location. A city
Mhm.
like Nashville, where we have real growth. When I say real growth, we have economic growth, we have job growth, we have companies moving here. So there's a true demand for housing. When
Mhm.
a company like
Mhm.
Oracle moves to town and they're going to create 8,500 jobs
Wow.
with just that one company, that doesn't take into consideration the uh, the support companies that have to come with Oracle
Right.
to make sure that Oracle does well because they have contracts with Oracle. Same thing, Amazon, 5,000 jobs.
Yes.
So that's real growth, and then you have all those support companies, and then we have a lot of healthcare companies. We have just so many different industries that are moving to Nashville. That a lot of our growth is real growth, and there's real demand for housing, and we have a shortage. So you take a look at all that, and that's what creates the pricing that we have. Now, some markets, it's not so much that it's investor driven
Driven.
appreciation, and I think
Right.
those are the markets where there's going to be opportunities because it's not my first home; it's an investment home.
Mhm.
So if things get tough, interest rates go up, and I don't have a fixed rate. I'm doing floating rate or something like that, or the economy goes bad and I don't have a job, or things like that could happen. Well, which house am I going to get rid of?
Mhm.
Not my
Mhm.
primary. I'm going to save that.
Right.
I'm
Right.
gonna have to let go of the investment property, my weekend house or what have you. And so you'll see, back in 07, 08, you saw areas like Florida, areas like Arizona, where people
Mhm.
had their second homes. You saw those areas really drop really quickly.
Right.
Um, Now, again, you mentioned earlier, Miami or Florida in general, there's some real growth there, and you look at the trend, it's not so much people buying vacation homes. There's some of that going on. Don't get me wrong, but you have a lot of people moving there too,
Right.
and
Mhm.
you have a lot of investment money coming in, which
Yes.
is unfortunately can inflate your pricing in your area.
Yes.
Because somebody in California may sell a bungalow that was 1,500 square feet for 1.5 million,
Million.
right?
Exactly.
And they come
Right.
in and they outbid everybody because they have this cash, and a house they probably should have sold for 700,000, they may pay 800 or 850 for, and they're waiving appraisal. It's
Mhm.
because they have the cash, and so they're moving
Exactly.
in. But that also sets the comps for the rest of the neighborhood. So now everybody else has to stretch to get that type of house. They have to stretch
House.
in their payments. So
Absolutely.
so you
Yeah.
have to be careful. You have to understand where you are. If you don't have the ability to stay in over, a down market, then you really want to ask yourself, should you get in? I don't know where the bubble bursts or if the bubble bursts. I have a business partner. He's been waiting for it to burst like the last 7 years, and so and he just keep watching it go up, up and up. So
He has patience.
he has patience, but he's losing out. There's opportunity cost as well. So,
Right.
um, so you have to be careful. And I just think that, my success in real estate has come because I am patient. I'm a long term buyer. I rarely will do a flip. I have a couple of them I'm doing now, but that's not my specialty. When I buy, I'm a buy and hold kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
So a good friend of mine, Daryl Freeman, always says, "Lee, in 20 years, it don't matter what you paid,
Right.
you're gonna be up."
Right.
So that's
So are you a trader? Do you trade as well?
trade.
Currency. Do you trade currency? You do stocks, puts,
Um,
any of that?
I'm not a big options person. So now my cousin Mark, who's on here, he's an options. He does all the options trade. So we're both securities advisors. I'm retired now, but he's
Okay.
still. And I was one for 27 years. I mean, literally, I um, retired earlier this year. So I'm a
Congratulations.
yeah. Thank you. So still with stock, I'm a buy and hold guy.
Right.
I buy and hold with stock. And so, you buy Nike at 50 and then you look at where it is now and you're happy that you rolled it out. Whereas, other people a lot of people are really into the excitement and the transaction of buying stock or
Yeah.
trading options and puts and all that, or trading currency or flipping houses. So a lot of people get tied up into that. I'm just a more patient, long-term strategist. Either
Okay.
can work, but you have to pick your strategy. You have to learn your craft, and you have to stick with the plan. You can't just jump in and out. So many people jump out of the market when it bottoms out. Well, that's the best time to buy, right? Whether it's real estate, whether it's currency, whether it's precious metals, whether it's stock, the best time to buy is when it's out. Everybody loves to go shopping the day after Christmas. So that's the same philosophy you have to have when the markets go down. But so many people sell when it goes down. Oh, I got to get out of here. Get me out. Get me out. Get me out. I want nothing to do with it.
No, that's the time when you buy. Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. That's the time when you buy. So
Exactly.
you take that ride up. You make all
that's
the
when
money.
they need a coach they need a coach like you to come in and say, hey, no, homie, you gotta hold it. You gotta
hold it and wait.
hold on here.
And especially buy when it's going down. It's when I trade, I love the fall. People go, they're like, okay, it's a bull's market, it's a bear's market. I don't care any of that because I'm not a former, I didn't have any formal education as far as trading is concerned. I taught myself.
Right.
And some of the people that I hang out with, they trade, and they don't like trading with me because I trade like I'm watching a football game.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, I'm hedging trades and everything. They're like, oh my gosh, it's going down. I'm like, oh, I'm making money. Like, oh,
Right.
it's going up. I'm like, oh, I'm making money because, I've hedged the trade or I'm going the opposite way. It doesn't matter. They're like, oh, you put your stop loss in. I'm like, nope, because I'm riding it down. I don't have a stop loss. I'm checking out, So
Right.
they were like, just close her office door and, don't listen to her. We used to have Forex trading in my office, and we should teach kids during the summer how to trade. Well, we used to teach kids in the summer how to trade Forex. And they were like, close the door. Don't let them hear her. Because these kids would get afraid because they understood support. They understood support,
Right.
And it was just like so crazy. They're like, don't let them hear her. Close her door because she's crazy. And I'm in there jumping up in my chair like, hey, yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's going down. And the kids are like, oh, and why is she screaming? Isn't she in the same trade we're in? So yeah, it used to be fun.
She's figured out how to make money on the down too. So
what'd you say? I'm sorry.
I said you figured out how to make money when it's going down too. So
it's absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I love it.
That.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am can you hear me? Am I back on?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I want to make sure that we get, because this is all really, really great. And unfortunately, the time continues to wind down. So I have a question that actually came up from Ms. Sharonda Scott that we want to make sure that we get a chance to ask you. And Sharonda said, how do you start to climb when everything seems so overwhelming?
Oh my gosh. Sharonda, I'm totally different from a lot of other people. I think I thrive in challenges. If there isn't anything going on for me, that's when I start to doubt myself. Like if there aren't any challenges, it's hard for me to grow when there aren't any challenges. So I'm a little different. So if there's a challenge or something that happens, that's when, I get my mojo. I'm like, oh, okay, something fails, or a client has to go to court, or we have to, figure out how to stay in their homes, how to refinance, how to do, that's when the challenge, I get my groove on then, you know what I mean? I love it. It's the passion. So I don't look at it as, like it defeated me, or I'm being defeated. It's just a challenge. And that's where, I start to grow. So I teach my clients the same thing. When you are challenged, that's the best time to look within, to see where your passion is, to see where you have to come from. You'll always respect that position in which you were in. You'll always remember, and you'll strive a little bit harder so you won't ever get back into that position again. So that's where I teach clients to go within. And that's where you're going to get your strength. Don't worry about it. Everything, everything that you're going through, you're not the only one that will go through it. You're not the first person. You're not the last one. You're not going to be the only one. And there are some things, Sharonda, that you've gone through or Rhonda, right? Or Sharonda?
Sharonda.
Yeah, Sharonda. Okay, that's my niece's name. There's some things, Sharonda, that you've gone through that you made it through. You didn't think that you were going to make it through when you were going through that. And so there's nothing that you're going to face that you can't get over. Nothing at all. So don't ever think that because you facing challenges that you're not going to make it through. Every time I'm challenged with something, and I have personal challenges, and I get a little like, dang, like, why is this happening? Then I say, you know what? I'm going to make it through that, because remember, I started with $167.
Hey.
You know what I mean? I had a daughter, at the time. I only had one asset at that particular time, which was my vehicle. And I had to put everything in my vehicle and go to a place. I went to my sister's house where no one would know what was going on, and I went there, and she gave me a week. She said, I'm giving you a week to cry, but you got to get your stuff together. You know what I mean? You're going to cry because I need you. You understand? So I couldn't be weak because she needed me, because I was that person for her, that gave her the strength, that was breathing, air into her. And I didn't know that. So when you have people around you that are like that, when you're going through challenges, let others know that you're going through challenges, and watch them and allow them to watch you get out of it. And you're going to help so many other people. So I hope that helped.
Yeah, that's
great.
phenomenal. So question, Michelle, and definitely everyone, if you have any questions, keep submitting them. But we talk to so many women that are driven like you are, and we talk about grit. But sometimes you can talk to people and you just think that you're always supposed to grind. Talk about the lighter side of Michelle. What do you like to do to unwind, or to hang out, or have fun? What are your hobbies?
Travel, and I love to stay on the beach. I love to work from the beach. I love to stay on the beach. I just enjoy watching God work, in my life. And like I said, it's sometimes when I'm not always on point, I'm not always in the best mood or the best mode. There was this young lady that one of the vendors that I use in my office space, she's a CPA, and one of her assistants told her, she says, there's something wrong with that lady. And she said, who, Michelle? She said, yeah, she's always happy. And she says, nobody is always that happy. And she says, well, why? She says, I think she's fake. And she says, Michelle, fake? And she said, yeah, because she's always happy. And, I had to have the conversation to let her know that I have to do that because you don't understand where I came from.
Right.
You don't understand, the times where I wanted to commit suicide. You don't understand the times that I had to make a choice between whether or not I was going to eat or whether or not I was going to pay my staff. You don't understand the times where my staff brought food for me because, I didn't have the money. You don't understand where I've come from. So when I'm excited and all of that, and when I go to the beach and I sit down and I watch God and I say, you know what, this is how God works in my life. When the ocean waves come up and they go back, this is how he works in my life. So I have to go out and give the respect due, and I have to remember that with nature, as it says in the Bible, if he would take care of the least of them, he would also take care of you. And I have to be mindful of that. And sometimes when you're in the office, and sometimes when you're around other successful people, you have a tendency to forget you're going through your stuff, but you're going through it. You're not
Right.
staying stuck in it. You're going through it. And you have to remember that he has your back. You know, there are other people that are out there that have your back. And you have to allow that to happen. You know, you have to allow those things to manifest in your life. You have to allow those things to be present in your life. You have to allow other people to see those things in your life. You know what I mean? So I love to travel. I love to get on the airplane and see the sky and the clouds, and to be up there, you know. And I say, oh, okay, I'm closer to you now. You got to hook me up.
All right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that I like to do. And I just like to pay homage to the creator. Like, you know, hey, I'm here. You know, this is your girl. Remember? You know, the one you sent down here on assignment. It's me
from heaven.
I need you. It's me.
That's what song is that? There's a song. It'll come to me, but that's awesome. Okay. Well, I'm looking at the time, and we are out of time.
Wow.
And there's so much more to ask. There's so much more, you know, in terms of meat of conversation. So we'll have to look at possibly doing a part two.
Yeah. Wow.
Dig deeper. But thank you so much, Michelle Lynn.
Thank you all for having me.
A wonderful, wonderful conversation with you. Before I do a quick recap again, if you are looking to reach out to Michelle Lynn, just know that you can find her at I Am Adderley, ADDERLEY, on any forum of social media, as well as that is your website, www.iamadderley.com. Feel free to reach out to her there. Lee, anything before I give the quick recap of just this amazing, rich conversation?
Yeah, we never know what to expect, but definitely did not disappoint Michelle Lynn Adderley. This was just phenomenal. I think that your advice, you know, on many topics, from the financial side to surviving, you know, being ripped off and kind of hitting, you know, you're $167 from broke. So
exactly.
to getting back to where you are now, to even we all have to learn to wind down. You know, so many of us, you know, because we don't wind down, we don't meditate, we don't take time to ourselves, we don't find that space where we want to be, where we're happy. You know, stress will kill you, and it causes so many other problems in your body. So thank you for that as well, and thank you all. Thank you to all of our listeners on Facebook, on YouTube, on the website. You know, make sure that you like, share to all your friends. If this is something that you grew from, you definitely know that they will. There was a saying, I think maybe Master P said it, I can tell what you're going to be by who you hang out with. And who you're around. And, you know, so much of who we are and who we're around and everything, you know, comes from what we hear and what we see. And so this is definitely great food to feed your brain and your spirit with, and to speed and to help, you know, really help you, nurture you to move forward. So make sure you share it. Make sure you tell your friends about it. Always we encourage you to binge through Women with Grit. We have a number of really, really good episodes. So just encourage you to do that. Thanks to all of our sponsors, MJC Insurance, Molet Investment Services, Sherelle Lands, The Table, and Frank Stanton Developers.
Awesome. All right, really quick recap, and then we are out of here. And then we'll talk about coming back on next week as well. As one, couple of the key points that Michelle Lynn has said is, one, allow kids to dream, right? Don't crush their dreams before they are given an opportunity to even expand them. Regardless of what you are dealing with or the situation, always maintain a professional composure under all costs. Remember the example she gave about first working for this particular company and then that company becoming one of her very first vendor. So making sure that you remain professional under all costs. It is okay to accept humble help, being comfortable, making the ask and saying, hey, I need help. You know, believe in me, invest in me, because we won't fail, right? getting past the fear of money, right? And getting past the aspect of that. Sometimes the things that you fear becomes the things that propel you into your future or your greatness. Recognize that kids are going to do what they see you do. So allow them to catch you doing something great and something that helps to propel their life. Remember to always thrive in your challenges. Those are the times when you are challenged that you'll find your strength from within. That was from Madeline. I'm so sorry. I keep on saying Madeline. Michelle, I know your name. I know your name. I don't know a Madeline. I don't know. I'm so sorry.
You'll come up with the book. They call me Madeline.
Oh my God, yes.
Right. They call me Madeline.
You know what I think it is? The way your name is written in my brain is consolidating it. I don't know.
Right.
It is. It's all good.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But let others know when you need the opportunity for help, right? Find your place of peace and solitude. I'm with you on the beach. Like my family knows when I come to Miami, before I see anyone, I go straight to the beach. Straight to the beach. Find your happy place and allow the blessings to manifest in your life. And then the one thing that you did say, which just kind of stuck to me, which was the aspect of your story, which was moving from lacking to stacking. I don't know why it just kind of came to me in that way. And how to move
all of these books. Listen, I'm calling the trademark attorney right now. Lacking to stacking. That's me.
From lacking to stacking. How to move from where you are to where you want to be. Awesome. And that was just, like the people who sit with me know that's what you said. I just spun it a little differently. But this has been a phenomenal time. Just really, really exciting. To all of our viewers, thank you for joining in. The one and only Michelle Lynn Adderley. We thank you again for your time. Got a new name on Women with Grit.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to coming back.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Take care. Have a great evening.
You as well.
All
Have
right.
a great week. Bye.